You're willing to impregnate your brother's child?
No, ma'am. Like I stated, I'm taking responsibility because.
But you violated her sexually, including ejaculating, which is how the DNA was tied to this case and to you as the perpetrator. So you were willing, without using protection, to penetrate the victim and potentially impregnate your own niece. I have that right?
That is what the report states, ma'am.
Okay.
And we are about to watch the parole hearing of a repeat offender, a man who continues to get arrest after arrest after arrest. So one might say, well, how is that possible? How is that possible when he gets busted for essaying his underage niece? She was under the age of 16. As you heard, they had DNA evidence. But even though he was already accused of doing a similar crime while he was in the military, he was court-martialed and discharged because of that. The judge only gave him 5 years for this latest offense, doing this to his niece under the age of 16, while they had DNA evidence. But it wasn't, believe me, it wasn't just 5 years. He only served 2 years of that because the judge and DA said, what's the big deal? Let's suspend all but 2 years of that sentence. So 3 years were suspended. He had 2, and you know that he would have had parole eligibility within about the first 8 months of that 2-year sentence. Now he gets out and he gets subsequently arrested 3 times. And finally, on the 3rd time in 2023, they said, you're going to have your special parole revoked, violation of your probation, and you're going to go back into prison. And that's why we are here today. And it's absurd because the idea that the DA and the judge would be holding the royal flush was that this repeat offender who's using music to groom anyone, including his own niece, to come into his clutches, and they give a suspended sentence. How is that possible? Again, they have DNA. They have the royal flush. There is no excuse that the jury will not find him guilty. They need to throw the book at him, but they don't, because they don't care, because it's just children. Now we're going to watch this parole hearing, and I'll unpack it with more details at Lady Holly Town at the end.
Good afternoon. My name is Clinton Prentice. 414870.
This hearing is being conducted in consideration of a parole application. Prentice, inmate number 414870. He's currently sentenced of 2 years and 1 day jail, followed by 30 months of special parole for violation of probation with the underlying offense of assault on a public safety officer. As of today, records reflect the parole eligibility date of November 4th, 2024. There's no victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan for the offender. It has been reviewed and shows the offender is currently participating in the vocational programming of barber school. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system, the offender's overall score on the SRT falls within the moderate risk for recidivism. Utilizing the static 99R, the offender's overall score for sexual offense recidivism falls within the high range. This is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin.
Hi, yes. My name is Clinton Prentice. I took some time to prepare. Yes, sir. So good afternoon to everyone and board members alike. I'm grateful and thankful to be given this opportunity to come before you today. I'd like to start by stating how remorseful and apologetic I really am for all of my actions leading up to this point, which have caused my incarceration. For I understand the justice system is designed to create justice and public safety for everyone. I wanted to let the board know that I have taken the time while incarcerated to better work on myself by reassessing my thought process and actions by meeting with the mental health counselors at the DOC facilities I was housed at, so they could better help me make the best calculated decisions possible when I'm in the community. I've taken advantage of the resources placed before me while housed at the facility by ensuring I was learning and utilizing all the skills obtained. I've been accepted into the vocational barbering course taught here by Mr. Johnson, who is helping us to learn a trade while also giving us the proper tools needed to operate a successful business while in the community. I would like the board and the board members to understand and take with you that I am a very hardworking person who loves to learn and will do everything to apply myself to the fullest when given the resources and the opportunity to go along with. I will do my best not to let the board and the members of the board down, along with the state of Connecticut, if given the opportunity to apply myself gainfully and when working or adding additional jobs in the community. I do understand that the current recidivism rate is a factor within most communities. Based on said statistics, I am dedicated to maintaining my commitment made to myself, my family, the community, the board of parole and pardons and paroles, and all the members that have helped me along the way, that I will set the best example to my fullest to fulfill and uphold the obligation to maintain work, school, and continue to be a productive person while in the community by making sure recidivism is no longer in my journey. In closing, I would like to thank the members of the board today, the DFC staff, and everyone involved with all the resources given to me. I will always apply myself respectfully, gainfully, and continuously by growing and bettering myself here, now, and within the community. For I am truly sorry. I'm truly remorseful to have caused the state of Connecticut and any setbacks I may have caused for the family and the victims alike with my actions. I will go forward, paying it forward in every which way I can, expressing my remorse and showing the changed person I have learned to become. That's what I took the time to put together with all the resources and the thought that I could, show the board that I actually thought this through. Instead, I didn't want to come here and just wing anything. I actually took some time to put this together before I read it.
I appreciate that, Mr. Prentice. So what we're going to do here is we took a look at your past, your record, what you've done since being incarcerated, your interview with the parole officer, your participation in the short-term program. And based upon that, we have some questions for you. Then we're going to talk about your case and give you a decision, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. So I'll tell you up front that I'm very concerned. This piece, I'm concerned about the sexual assault third, and the fact that there is a prior sex offense in your history. Okay. You did take the short-term program. It said that you did, the work in that program. it didn't say that you pulled a lot from that program. And that concerns me a great deal. When you met with the parole officer, you said you admitted to certain behavior, but disagreed with the police report. Okay. And in this, where'd it go?
It dropped on my end. I figured you could still see it.
Are you still there, Mr. Prentice? Mr. Prentice, are you still there?
Can you hear and see me?
Yes.
Can you hear us?
Sorry, yes, we can hear and see you.
Thank you, Ms. Williams.
Can you hear us?
Yes, sir, I can, yes.
Okay, good.
We're gonna go back on. Going back on the record for putting critiques in there.
So you heard where I was going on that question, right?
Right, I think you last left off at you reviewed certain information and we're gonna go over those information with me and tell me where we go from there, I think, if I'm not
Okay.
mistaken.
So I'll go back then.
Yes,
So we're looking at suitability, right? And one of the things with suitability when it comes to sex offending, it's what's going to happen in the community, right?
yes, sir.
And when you have what you have in your military career, and then you have the sex assault third here, and then you have the programming that you took with a short-term program, and you meet with a parole officer and you admit to something inappropriate, but say that the police report is inaccurate. What was inaccurate about the police report?
Well, the story that was given or that was put together that they drafted up wasn't necessarily what I indicative of what I my actions or what I
What
said.
did you do?
Well, for instance, I told them I took responsibility for even
Yeah.
being in placing myself in that particular
Took
setting.
responsibility for what?
Well, for me, number one, having to be able to have my niece be in a vulnerable situation and not being able to explain to her everything that was going on. And I think for me, as the best I can understand, is that it was a miscommunication between me and my niece, what happened.
So,
And
so hold on for a second, because
yes,
a miscommunication. So,
right. Yes, sorry.
hey, just hang on for a second, because this is where we got a problem. So are you telling me that this didn't happen?
No, I'm not telling you that nothing didn't happen. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is that I took responsibility for that day, sir, of my actions and where I was at that time, because I am an adult and I want to become a better person. So no, I'm not saying that this didn't happen. No, not saying that. Because in order for me to move forward and become better and not reoffend or commit anything, I have to accept where I was, what happened, so I can understand how to go forward.
So now at this point, are you saying that what your niece said is what happened?
Yeah, no, entirely. I don't know exactly what she said because I didn't have that information. But as far as I understand, what I was explained to me in court, some of the information put out that I don't remember. That's how it went. Because like you and I know, there are more than one side to a story. How someone received it and how the other person received
So
it.
what exactly happened that day?
Well, that day it was a while ago. So forgive me. I don't have specifics. Exactly,
So-
but oh, sorry.
You don't have specifics yet you were there.
Yeah, yes, sir, I was there. I cannot deny that I was, my niece and I was at my house, yes, sir.
And what
It's
happened?
absolutely. So we was there and I was trying to get together a music video. And because I sometimes make music along the lines, and I was trying to get her to have a role in the music video, but my niece at the point was already I think I don't know because I wasn't there when before she came over. I think she was she had smoked or she had already had intoxicated in something. So it was more of she was acting out and I was trying to hold her and tell her like calm down. You gotta listen to the steps. I want us to be a choreographed steps. And in the process of her and I being in the room together and me consoling her or maybe touching her, she didn't feel comfortable in how I handled her. And that's how she explained to them the story that she did and I can only say yes, I was there and maybe I didn't go about it in the most professional manner. And that's how the results came out.
How do you professionally sexually assault someone?
No, I'm not saying you professionally assault someone. I'm saying I was giving her the grounds of what we want to do the music video.
Okay.
So I said
So-
maybe I didn't handle
it's
that professionally.
So for me, Mr. Prentice, I don't want
Yes,
to
sir.
waste your time and I don't want to waste my time. Okay?
Yes, sir.
The bottom line is that you have a prior sex offense in the military. What you're telling me right now is not what the evidence, I'm not talking about he said, she said. I'm talking about the evidence in the case doesn't bear out what you're trying to peddle here, right? So what you have 30 months on special parole. And during that time, you're going to have to take treatment for problem sexual behavior.
Yes,
And
sir.
there's a whole host of things that goes along with that, that are going to try to help you get to the bottom of a second sexual offense here that has been committed. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And I really hope that you're able to get something out of that.
Yes, sir.
And that you don't offend against somebody else. But I'm not, when it comes to suitability for parole, I'm not there. And so the discussion becomes something different, really. Okay.
I understand.
Do you
Yes,
have any
sir.
questions, Board Member Turner or Board Member Rodriguez?
A little bit. So Mr. Prentice, what we have indicates that you picked the victim up and brought her to the place that you were residing. It's not your house, it's Irene's house, but you're a resident there. And that's where you want to go back and live?
Yes, ma'am. I've been
Okay,
living
and
there
you would regularly have young people come over, hang out and smoke pot and listen to music? That
No,
was your thing?
no, absolutely not. Sometimes no one's there for months, 8 months at a time. No, absolutely. No. Because I don't like too many traffic at my house. So I don't have people there on a regular all the time.
Well, you went out of your way to isolate the victim so that you could perpetrate the crime. And you completed the short track program back in 2022. And some of the risk factors that were identified was your cognitive distortions relating to consent. Can you tell me what consent means?
Yes, consent should mean that you're given permission in my best educated explanation. And both
Permission
parties.
for what?
It can be consent for many different things. Consent, you're given permission with both parties have a mutual understanding and a mutual agreement that both parties understand.
So there's an agreement to intimacy, to contact, whether it's holding hands, kissing, or intercourse. And both parties have a right at any point to withdraw consent, don't they?
Yes, ma'am.
So although you appear not to have read the arrest warrant, it is an incredibly detailed and very credible account that the victim made of the assault that you perpetrated against her and her efforts to get away from you, to get away from the contact that you were having with her, to resist you. She said she was trying to think smart and not make you mad, and try to come up with, excuses and reasons to put you off. And you were having none of it. She said no, and she resisted. What does intercourse mean to you? What is the definition you work with?
Intercourse, to me, the definition I would say the intercourse is when two consensual individuals agree to have, and in this matter, sex, they agree to have sexual relationship or relations.
Okay. So you, after completing the problem sexual behavior short track program, you had an evaluation in January of this year by the Connection. Do you remember that?
Not the connection, not necessarily. You can enlighten
All right.
me.
Well, they came and met with you in January, and you said it didn't go the way she said. I never had sex with her. And you were convicted because there was DNA evidence that proved that you did violate her.
Answer? Oh, I remember taking responsibility, ma'am, because I remember that at that moment I had told them I had been under the influence. So I'm gonna be an adult. If I don't remember everything clearly, I take fully responsibility, and I remember pleading guilty. That's what I did to be convicted. Yes, I took responsibility because
Well, you apologized at court saying you were completely sorry, but then you've been backpedaling on the position of responsibility for victimizing this child. You were willing to impregnate your brother's child?
No, ma'am. Like I stated, I'm taking responsibility because
But you violated her sexually, including ejaculating, which is how the DNA was tied to this case and to you as the perpetrator. So you were willing, without using protection, to penetrate the victim and potentially impregnate your own niece. I have that right?
that is what the report states, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Thank you. No more questions, Mr. Chair.
Anything,
How many questions? All right, good.
so I have nature and circumstance, criminal history, current offense committed on probation, and inadequate evidence of offender change. I have mental health evaluation and treatment is deemed necessary, problem sexual behavior treatment, no contact with minors without parole officer's permission, no contact with victims, SW or R.
I would also like to argue for halfway house placement because I think it's completely inappropriate that he would return to the same residence where this woman was aware that there were young people in her home, smoking marijuana with this adult.
Okay, regarding Clinton Prentice, 414870, I move to deny parole based upon nature and circumstances of the current offense, criminal history, current offense committed while on probation, and inadequate evidence of offender change, and to set the following special parole conditions. Halfway house placement, mental health evaluation and treatment is deemed necessary, problem sexual behavior treatment, no contact with minors without parole officer's permission, no contact with victim RH or SW. Is there a second? Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Mr. Prentice, you'll go out at your end of sentence to special parole, okay?
Say that again, sir?
You'll go out at the end of sentence to special parole, okay?
Okay, what is special? Oh, go ahead, sorry.
End of sentence is towards the end of this year.
Okay.
Not, it's towards the end of this year.
And then you'll be on special parole.
Go ahead.
This concludes the hearing for Clint. To make. We're all set, sir.
All right. I can, all right.
And they deny, but really, frankly, he gets the last laugh. I mean, he's getting out by the end of the year. It's March 14th, 2025 by the time we did this hearing, and his full term date, where is it? Lady Holly dropped it in here. It is 12/5/2025. He's got 9 more months. He's going to be out in time for Christmas and New Year's. I wonder how many music videos he can try to make in between just that little time span. And this is crazy because he's not like a normal S offender, right? He is court-martialed for doing it in the Army, and he does it to his own niece. Plus, he can't stay out of prison. Usually, you can kind of pigeonhole these type of offenders, but this guy, he's just a loose cannon that can't even do what he needs to take to protect himself or to keep his family out of it, right? I mean, this is something that Lady Holly found. Look at this. This is written 2019, and here it says, Windsor man charged with the SA arrested 4 more times. Now, keep in mind, we're not here for any of these 4 arrests. He was arrested again, which is what got him here. And again, it was just a violation of it's not like he might be getting new felonies, but or charges, and then they drop it and they're just falling back on his special parole. Do you get what I'm saying? Saying this guy cannot stay out of trouble, and yet they're not tacking on longer sentences to protect the public from a dangerous menace. From someone who does not accept responsibility, from someone who is still in denial, from someone who has no limitations on who their victims are, their own underage niece. They have DNA. They could have locked them up for the maximum. This is the best deal that we can possibly think of. You know, they're horrible poker players. I know I could keep coming back. I'll read more to you, but I just have to get some stuff off my chest. I like playing Texas Hold'em. That's the I haven't played in years. It's not like I go every day to play, but I like it. I enjoy the game. And it's a very simple saying. It's, you know, when to hold them, you know, when to fold them. And when you have the best hand that you can have in poker, you do not fold them. You do not negotiate a deal with your opponent where you give them 5 years all suspended, but 2. He cannot win this case. He knows that. His defense attorney would have known that. You would have said, you know what, sir? We have a DNA. We know what you did to her. We are going to prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law. Some of you might say, well, look, the victim, she still would have had to get up on the stand. We don't want her to do that. Well, then you play hardball. Then you go through jury selection. Then you go up to the date of the court. And then let's see how the guy feels now about the plea deal. But they don't. They go through this real quickly. It's unbelievable. To think this guy's not going to have buckets of victims, and to think that he's only been caught twice. So the woman told police that she had gotten, and they call her woman, although she was under the age of 16, to know Prentice because he had contacts in the music industry. Now, keep in mind that this is written in ways maybe to protect her or the relationship status. They do that in these writings in early on cases like this. A business that interested her. According to the affidavit, the woman would visit Prentice at his home with her friend and do this devil's lettuce and that he had tried unsuccessfully on one or more occasions to get her to come to his home alone. The victim told police that she texted Prentice, who's her uncle, on the night of the assault, asking if he knew any way she could make some money. He responded that he would pick her up and go over everything with her. Once at Prentice's home, the victim told police that he asked her if she felt comfortable several times before trying to put his hands down the inside of her pants. According to the affidavit, the victim told Prentice that she was not sexually active and told him not right now, in an attempt to get him to leave her alone and think she would do something with him at another time. This whole thing, and to think he would be moving back into this house. Thank goodness for the parole board that said no chance. You're going to a halfway house. According to the affidavit, Prentice forced the victim onto the bed and essayed her. Afterwards, she told police that he gave her $50 and that he would try to get her $200 next time. During the interview with police, the victim said she never wanted to have it with him and she kept telling him no. According to the affidavit, the victim provided police with the clothing she was wearing and other items related to the assault, which police submitted for DNA testing. On April 6, 2019, police received an offender hit notification that indicated recent DNA analysis generated a match in the state or national offender database. The DNA was matched to Prentice, and he's in that database because of his long record. According to police, a criminal history check on Prentice revealed that he was previously facing criminal charges in the U.S. Army for SA and other charges. It was revealed that Prentice accepted what is known as Chapter 10 release from the military in lieu of a court-martial. Oh, in lieu of a court. So, the military, maybe it's a lot like the U.S. system. Like, yeah, we don't want to deal with court-martials. We don't want people to be talking about the SA problem we have in the military. Just go here. Leave. You could just leave. I don't know much about this stuff, but that's kind of my vibe. Okay. Prentice was released when it comes to the Army, right? You read about it. You read about all the problems and the hiding of it and how much is going on. They don't want to deal with it. He was released on $250,000 bond and is due back in Hartford Court. Prentice was arrested by Windsor Police October 23rd on several charges, including second-degree threatening, third-degree assault, fourth-degree criminal attempt to commit SA. Windsor Police did not immediately respond for requests for information about the incident. Is this a different incident? Does he have another SA? What? I think so. It's not on his record, but I think so. And keep in mind, so he only served like maybe 2 years of that. He got back out and he committed more offenses, which is why we're even here today. Okay. When you need to that, Lady Holly has the breakdown in the spreadsheet. So, you have now Connecticut only goes back 10 years. So that's why we only have 10 years of this, which is why it starts at 2015. But you have the violation of probation. So controlled substance, 2 years jail, but suspended, probation 2 years. 2016, violation of probation. So he immediately violates 1 year jail. 3/2/2016 is the arrest date. I'm not sure. Reckless driving, 85 miles an hour. 3/9/2017, disorderly conduct, unconditional discharge. 10/23/2015, evade with injury, property damage. So I guess that means like hit and run type of thing. 4/4/2017, larceny 6th degree. And isn't it crazy? He has like the perfect grooming setup in this house that this woman is letting him stay at, where you can pretend he has a recording studio, so you can get children to come there and say, I have a recording studio. How sick is that? How sick. Who that person is that's letting him do that. Sentenced 8 years jail, suspended after 3 years, probation 3 years. This is assault to a public safety officer. This one's 2020. Here's this one, intercourse with kindred, felony, 5 years, suspended after 3. So even with his long record and DNA, they give him just a 2-year sentence. Then he violates in 1/16/2024, He also has a reckless driving there. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Lady Holly, for all that info. That it just makes no sense. I don't understand how they can keep releasing a dangerous man in every way, dangerous with his driving, dangerous with his substances, dangerous with his doing SA to any and he's back. He will be back out before Christmas. Make it make sense. And with that, I'll let you go.
At court saying you were completely sorry, but then you've been backpedaling on the position of responsibility for victimizing this child. You were willing to impregnate your brother's child?
No, ma'am. Like I stated, I'm taking responsibility because
But you violated her sexually, including ejaculating, which is how the DNA was tied to this case and to you as the perpetrator. So you were willing, without using protection, to penetrate the victim and potentially impregnate your own niece. I have that right?
that is what the report states, ma'am.